Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of Talking Fitchburg. It is Thursday, June 25th, 2020. Jeremy Crosby here, back in the hot seat. Appreciate Andrew covering for me the last couple days as we've been getting prepared for a cow presentation last night, but glad to be back. And Andrew, thank you for helping out and keeping the show moving forward. And we've got a busy show today, a lot of information to get out there. We'll get you updated on the latest of the COVID-19. We're seeing a very big increase in numbers right here in Dane County, and we'll get into that here in just a second. Then we're going to replay, check back in with Andrew over at Hy-Vee with June Dairy Month going on. Thought it'd be a good opportunity to show you if you didn't see it the first time as she breaks down dairy, especially if you're looking for an alternative to dairy but still want to enjoy dairy. Stay tuned. She'll explain. Fitchburg Historical Society is here as well. We'll get an update from them. What have they been doing during the COVID-19? And they have so many great services, and we'll talk about all those coming up here in just a little bit. But first, we do turn to the rise of the COVID-19 cases in Dane County. And this is what we've got here. In the past 5 days, 279 people in Dane County have tested positive for COVID-19, which brings our 7-day case average to 47 cases per day. The 7-day average from mid-June was 17 cases per day. So you can see the increased testing does not fully account for the upward trend in cases. Yeah, our testing's kind of leveled off in some ways. What do we know about these 279 cases? Well, 50% of these cases are ages 20 through 29. That's startling. That's a young age. So we know that we would spend a lot of time talking about this outbreak and pandemic about protecting our elder population. But we're seeing this number, and not just in Dane County, in the U.S. Young people are getting this, and in some cases have died. I was watching a couple of reports this morning of people under 20 passing away from COVID-19. It's a very serious situation. It says we're investigating multiple cases associated with businesses near campus. So far, 35 cases are connected with clusters, but our contact tracers are still conducting many interviews. So this number will increase. Other information here is 167 or 60% of the cases from Madison, and 112 or 40% of the cases are from around cities in Dane County. 173 cases were tested at the community test site. That's over at Alliant Energy Center, and there has not been any corresponding increase among people being admitted to the hospital or ICU. These data trends to lag behind the case increases. However, so it is something that we will be closely monitoring. So that information coming in here from Dane County Public Health today. As we see those numbers trending upward. So we've got to take action. And I've seen a lot of information out there today. I want to go right to this one. Take action. Taking the actions you take affect others. Yeah, by taking precautions and following public health recommendations, you help protect yourself and others from COVID-19. I know we sound like a broken record, but it's serious here. This is something that we can stop. You may not, if you're at home, you've been at home, you're wearing your mask, you're doing everything, you're doing it right. You're keeping the spread down. And take that outside. Wear a face covering. Keep 6 foot distance from others. And you can check out the website, Dane County Public Health. They've got information out there and the 5 easy ways of lowering your risk there. Limit your bubbles, minimize trips out. Take it outside. I mean, enjoy. You're going to meet up with people, meet with them outside, practice that social distancing, keep it viral, and get tested. You need to get tested when you can. If you think you have been exposed, or if you do want to get a test, you can do that. And make sure you just practice those pieces and keep up the good work. All right, that does it for our headlines. Coming up next, we open up our guest segment. Well, 2 guest segments. We'll talk about June Dairy Month next with our dietitian from Hy-Vee.
Touchdown! Oh, did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that?
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine.
Kevin, I need that back.
No.
Kevin!
Gaining weight was easy. All I had to do was sit down and eat. Losing weight's a lot harder. I have to work at it every day. But with every step, I lower my risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And that makes every step, every choice, every day very much worth the effort.
Learn how you can help stop diabetes by losing weight, eating healthy, and staying active. Visit checkupamerica.org or call 1-800-DIABETES.
Yeah! Sam, Elmo!
Oh, hey, Julia. Are you ready to play band with us? I'm gonna play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
Mm-hmm. With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from Hy-Vee, it's Andrea, our dietitian for Fact TV. We love it. Andrea, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing wonderful because it's Dairy Month, and we're going to be talking about everything dairy on this segment, and those of you who can't tolerate the dairy, we'll even go into that. Very excited. But let's dive in here, and I think I know the answer to this question, gallon. But how much milk do I need to drink as an adult?
Yes, very good question, because that changes quite a bit. So when we were kids, we could, we were chugging gallons of milk, glass of milk at every meal with yogurt and cheese. As adults, we don't need as much. The good news is dairy products are very efficient. They're very nutrient dense, so we don't need a whole lot of amount to get the nutrition that we need. So we're talking varying by the person, 2 to 3 cups of milk or milk equivalent. So equivalent, for instance, is 1.5 ounces of cheese, just to give you an example, is about a 1/2 cup equivalent of milk. And that's based off the nutrition that each food provides.
I don't know if I'm happy with that answer. That's not,
I know.
Tell that to the kids who seem to just drink milk like it's water, which I just can't believe. But as far as you don't seem to tolerate milk as well as kids do. As you get older, does the body change? It can be harder to process the dairy?
Yeah, it kind of does. So lactose intolerance is the #1 food intolerance for adults, actually. And so it's very, very common. And what that means is throughout time, we either lose the enzyme, basically, which is called lactase, that breaks down the sugar lactose. So, so it's a very common occurrence as we simply age, but it can also be sloughed off, if we have an illness or if we get sick or something like that. So in general, it's very common for adults to not tolerate specifically the sugar in dairy. So lactose intolerance isn't an allergy. They're not allergic to dairy, so that's the good news. And it's a little bit easier to manage. The intolerance is a little easier to manage.
And if we're looking at milk, maybe you don't care for milk. Maybe you like other dairy products. Can you just eat the yogurt and cheese and still get what you need out of the dairy category?
Yep, you sure can. So the way that the dairy group works is the nutrition comes from milk or foods made with milk. So that's where you can consume and get the nutrition by either drinking milk, fluid milk, eating cheese, or eating yogurt. So for instance, those that are lactose intolerant, they may not tolerate fluid milk, but the products that are made with milk don't have as much lactose. So for instance, cheese, almost all of the lactose is removed when we process cheese. And so most people that are lactose intolerant can eat cheese without a problem, especially hard cheeses, because there's practically no lactose left in hard cheeses. And then you have the whole other category of cultured milk. So yogurt, kefir, the culturing process actually eats up the lactose or that sugar, And so our body doesn't have to digest it. So even those that are lactose intolerant and those that don't prefer to drink milk may get their nutrition from yogurt or kefir or the cheese. And that's, you know, a fine amount to consume without having to drink the actual fluid milk.
Well, I can contest to this exactly because my father-in-law can't tolerate milk, but boy, does that guy eat cheese. And, there's no problem there. So it definitely is good to know, but definitely it works. Like this point of drinking chocolate milk after exercising. How do those two even pass?
Right. How does that make sense? Yes. So actually, you know, milk, and cow's milk specifically, is really packed with nutrition. There's 9 essential nutrients that we can only get through food. And with that, there's protein in milk. It's a very good source of protein. There's natural carbohydrates, so that natural sugar has nutrition attached to it. And then there's sodium and potassium in milk, and those are 2 electrolytes. So when we exercise or sweat, we need to replenish the electrolytes. We need to take in protein to rebuild our muscles, and then we need to replenish our carbohydrate. So milk has all of those included. So that's why you'll hear it so much. And chocolate milk specifically, if you do a hard workout, you really deplete your body of carbohydrates, and the sugars that are in chocolate milk bring you back really quickly. So it's just kind of a well-rounded response after a workout. Maybe not so much if you just, you know, go out and walk your dog casually, but if you're sweating or have, you know, you play a game of tennis, or, you know, you have a pretty, you know, hard workout, it is a good, very easy replenishment. You don't need a specific sports drink or powders or anything like that.
I don't know if I could tolerate it, to be honest. I don't know if it would work for me or not. So personally, but hey, I think it's a great alternative. I'd love to see instead of a electronic drink, just a big glass of chocolate milk.
It's a great option for kids, you know, when they play hard, or so they don't have, you know, they don't have to do supplements or, you know, that kind of thing. They can have a glass of milk, and it's a good replenishment.
Yeah, and I think it's easy for any kid really to give them chocolate milk.
Right.
They'll be very, very happy about that.
Right.
All right, let's transition now into, so maybe you do have that intolerance to milk. It's just causing you the problems. We're seeing a lot of development in the plant-based milk. Tell me a little bit about this.
Sure. So plant-based milk, it's a very interesting category because it's really booming. I mean, you'll see a milk made out of anything, you know, these days. And so, so plant-based milks have nothing to do with cows. So I'll lay that out there. They are completely lactose free. Okay. But with that, they really do pale in comparison to the nutrition that's in cow's milk or in dairy food. So that's one thing that I like people to know. It's not bad to drink them. It's just, I don't want people to think they're getting the same nutrition from a plant-based milk that they are from dairy milk, because it's not the same. Mainly the protein is completely different. The calcium is usually added in if it doesn't exist naturally. And then there's other nutrients that might not come along with whatever plant, whether it be oat, rice, almond, whatever it is being used to make that milk. So it's a very important distinction to make. In fact, there's a labeling situation going on very similar to juice labeling laws a few years ago, where if you can recall, when you go to the store, you'll see either 100% juice or juice beverage or juice drink. They're doing a similar kind of thing with milk. And what that is, it's to protect the consumer. So they know if something says milk beverage, that it's not real milk. It's not cow's milk. It doesn't have the same nutritional profile. So that's why you'll see things like oat milk beverage or almond drink, and not almond milk anymore or coconut milk anymore, because it doesn't match up to cow's milk.
Yeah, that would be a kind of a bummer if you thought you were getting milk this whole time and then it's
Right.
not really the case.
Right.
Real quick, I didn't leave you a lot of time for the lactose-free milk, but just quickly, is lactose, is it milk?
It is milk, yeah. So lactose-free milk, if it's lactose-free dairy milk, it's milk that comes from cows, has all the nutrition. There's just an added enzyme to help with digestion so you're not uncomfortable. So you could eat the foods naturally, like cultured milk that will digest better without lactose. But you could do lactose-free dairy. There's also an emerging type of milk called ultra-filtered milk, which also has the lactase enzyme. So it's good for people with lactose intolerance as well.
I'll just tell you this, that father-in-law made some homemade ice cream with the lactose-free milk in it.
Yeah.
You would never know. You really would never know the difference.
Yep, it's the same thing.
All right, Andrea, thank you so much. I wish we had more time to talk here, but I appreciate the time, and you can stop by and visit Andrea at one of the Hy-Vees here in the Madison area. Andrea, we'll talk to you later this month.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and do your part. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit any social gathering. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Hola, Julia. ¿Estás lista para tocar con nosotros? Yo tocaré mi clarinete.
Y Elmo tocará su tambor. Tambor ruidoso.
Bueno, ya sabes qué hacer, Julia.
Julia sabe.
Dado el autismo de Julia, los sonidos pueden ser muy fuertes.
Y hace música a su manera. ¡A tocar!
La detección temprana del autismo puede hacer una diferencia de por vida. Conoce más sobre la detección temprana en detecciondeautismo.org.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is Catherine Snyder from the Fitchburg Historical Society. Catherine, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Thank you, Jeremy. It's so good to be with you again after several months of pause due to circumstances with the pandemic and a little bit more of our staying at home. So really good to be with you today.
Hey, glad you invited us into your home, and glad to touch base with you. It has been a while, and what is going to be known as a historic event here for years to come. Catherine, tell us a little bit about how things have been going for you at the Historical Society. What have you guys been doing during this time?
Yeah, well, of course, adjusting to the COVID due to that, and making adjustments with our organization as everyone has been. I think the first thing that was really, well, I should say, first of all, we, as you know, Jeremy, we are housed we are so fortunate to be housed at the Fitchburg Public Library. So our office is there and our archives are there. And also we have our board meetings there every other month, and our spring and fall meetings. Well, of course, the library then closed down in March, and we had our spring meeting planned for, I think it was April 17th. So of course we needed to reschedule our spring meeting that we always invite the public to. So that was the first thing that we were confronted with. So we are hoping to reschedule that for the fall. But of course, everything is tentative these days, just depending on when the library opens, whether the meeting rooms are going to be open, how large numbers of people can be allowed to assemble by that time. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. However, we will have that program at some point, and we're excited about it. Our speaker is from Edgewood Art History Department, and she will be bringing us a program on a resident, very famous actually resident of Fitchburg, Ida Wyman, who's a well-renowned photographer. So that's going to be our program, and our speaker, Professor Herzog, said that she would make this program happen whenever it's convenient, whenever it works for everyone. So she's been most understanding about the circumstances that we're in right now. So anyway, we're looking forward to her program. The other major decision we made, which is unusual for us, we've never done this before, but usually at the spring program we do our membership collection of dues. And of course, the spring program didn't happen, so we needed to discuss that as a board. Our decision was not to have dues for the year 2020. And our thinking was this. Many people have been impacted financially by the virus, needing to either cut back on their hours at work or not being able to work over these last few months. So we're certainly very understanding of that and wanted to acknowledge that. And then besides that, to think about that perhaps people would want to choose to take that money they would have been having as dues to our organization and use that in some way toward community needs, providing for some of the things that are going on in the community that are becoming very prominent for us now. So anyway, that was a new decision for us, and we felt very comfortable making that decision for this year. So I just like to say what is going on, because there's always things happening behind the scenes, even though we're not doing as many public things right now. It's a great time to go to the Fitchburg Historical Society website. I mean, if you're at home, extra hours these days, it's a wonderful website. It's fabulous for doing genealogy, for finding out anything you want to know about Fitchburg, government, schools, pictures, articles from the past. In fact, I think one of the most interesting things as I'm looking back on it in the spring of 2018, our speaker was Professor Mary Haney from the School of Pharmacy, and she spoke on the pandemic of 1918. So looking at that in retrospect and knowing we're in the midst of a pandemic right now, I think is a very interesting and informative program that's on our website, readily available to anyone. So I found myself on the website the other day because it's updated periodically, and I have many relatives that lived in Fitchburg, and so I was looking up my grandparents, all my grandparents, and their obituaries, and I just had a most fun afternoon, actually, just going back over them, and I think our website provides just a lot for people to access and become familiar with Fitchburg and its history and all different aspects of it. So just to lead into that, I'd like to say that next month, we're hoping to have for your guest, Jeremy, Alan Tariba, who is, he's the person who really is our guru in terms of our website. And he'll bring everybody up to date a little bit more on exactly what's going on in terms of the website and new things that are available there. So I just like to invite everyone to see the website, fitchburghistory.com, and just enjoy it, explore it, have fun with it. So I think that's probably pretty much what's going on with us.
Well, I didn't have to do anything for this interview so far, Catherine. You're making this It's really easy. Darn. Going back here on the so the closure of you guys, very unfortunate, and I'm glad that you're going to try to reschedule that program when you can, and certainly we'll do our best to cover that so we can get that in the archives for you as well. Very generous too on the membership piece. I remember seeing that and sharing that story on Talking Fitchburg. Very nice of you guys to hold back on that. And if you haven't been out onto the website, you got to get out there. There are so many things. Catherine is right. When you get on there and you start searching around, you kind of get lost because at least for me, it's hard to believe that, this Fitchburg, what it was to what it is today is just very neat. So yeah, if you got the time, once you got the time, you can stop out and definitely check that out. Catherine, real quick here, if you could just tell us that website one more time and any other places they can find more information about you.
Sure. The way that you can always find us is on our website, which is fitchburghistory.org. And so if you go there, all kinds of ways you can access Fitchburg history, as well as get in contact with us personally. Our office is we do take phone messages, but since the library has been closed, that's been a little harder to access. But when things start up again, our phone will be available also at the library. So certainly being in contact with with fitchburghistory.org, you're right with us, and we'd love to have you see that site and just enjoy it.
Yeah, you guys have done a lot of great work, and still a lot of work to be had to moving forward. Catherine, thank you so much for your time, and we'll check back in with you next month.
Sounds great.
Or
Thanks
I guess
so
check
much,
in with Alan, I should say.
Great.
Yep, thank you. Talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Right, yeah, get out to the website, check it out. A lot of resources out there for you to learn about the great history here in the city of Fitchburg and Fitchburg overall. All right, we'll take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.
I expected it to be a lot easier.
I thought it was going to be a piece of cake. I didn't know what step to take next.
I was transitioning from the military.
I was a vehicle gunner.
An avionics specialist. I was an MP, military police.
My friends thought I could do anything.
I missed my unit, my family.
Playing with my daughter, I felt like a stranger.
I was overwhelmed.
I couldn't sleep.
I just wanted to be by myself.
I didn't have a clear sense of what to do next.
I was too proud. And then I thought, if I'm going through this, other veterans have gone through it too,
right?
I started to open up.
And it made a huge difference. So I reached out, and I saw that I wasn't alone.
Because before I was able to take on my next mission, I had to take on just taking care of myself.
To find purpose.
We are not alone. Other veterans have transitioned from the military and overcome mental health challenges. Visit maketheconnection.net.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show for the day. I want to thank Catherine from Fitchburg Historical Society. Check out their website to find out more of all the great things they've got going on there for you at the history here in the city of Fitchburg. Remember, you can stay connected with Fact TV through our social media. Of course, we're online on our cable channels through Apple TV, Roku, and always on the website, fitchburgwi.gov. Have a great day, everybody, and head on the weather, too. Keep an eye on that.